May I say a prayer for you?" At first the man laughed, but a minute later he broke down in tears. Richard Anderson took a deep breath as he adjusted his Italian tie. He had just emerged victorious from another legal battle that would bring millions to his firm, yet something inside him remained empty, as if none of these achievements could fill a growing void within. That's when he felt a tiny hand gently touch his sleeve. Looking down, he saw a girl no older than 5, with messy hair and a worn-out t-shirt that had seen better days. "You look sad," the child said in a sweet voice that contrasted with the noise of Fifth Avenue traffic. "May I say a prayer for you?" Richard let out a dry laugh, glancing around for whoever might be responsible for her. "Listen, kid, I don't believe in that stuff. Where are your parents?" But the girl wasn't intimidated. She closed her dark little eyes and clasped her small hands together. "God in heaven bless this handsome man who's hurting so much. It's this. He lost something very important and doesn't know how to find it again. Help him find what his heart's been searching for all this time." Richard was about to walk away when she continued, "And take care of Emily, whom he loves so much, even though she's far away. She needs lots of love and kindness too." The world seemed to stop. Richard's legs trembled, and he had to lean against a nearby lamppost. That name, Emily. No one knew about Emily. No one had spoken her name in 5 years. How do you know that name?" he whispered, feeling his eyes well up. The girl opened her eyes and smiled with an innocence that touched something deep in his chest. "Grandma Esther always says that when we pray with our whole heart, the right words come on their own. Your face is wet." Richard wiped his face and realized tears were streaming down without him noticing. He hadn't cried in years, not since... "What's your name, child?" "Lily, Grace, but everyone calls me Lily. I live over there." She pointed to a narrow alley between the office buildings. "With my grandma Esther. She's sick and can't work anymore, so I come here to ask the angels to send help." "Shouldn't you be in school?" Lily lowered her eyes. "Grandma doesn't have money for school supplies, but she teaches me to read at home with old magazines our neighbor gives us." Richard looked at this barefoot child in patched-up clothes, and something stirred inside him. She radiated a peace he hadn't felt in a long time. "Come with me. I'll take you back to your grandma and give you some money to help." "You don't have to, mister. Grandma Esther always says God takes care of us, and promises aren't paid with money." "What promises?" "I promised I'd pray for every sad person I met. You're the 7th one today." Richard's chest tightened. When was the last time someone had cared about him without wanting anything in return? "Will you take me to meet your grandma?" Lily hesitated for a moment, but then took his hand with confidence. "Grandma Esther will be happy. She always says good people show up when we need them most." They walked through the narrow alley between the office buildings. Richard had never noticed this small community hidden in the heart of New York City's financial district. Simple little houses, some made of wood, others of bare brick, formed a maze that seemed like another world. "Here," Lily said, stopping in front of a small house painted in faded blue. "Grandma Esther, I brought a visitor." A woman with grey hair appeared in the doorway. She must have been in her 70s, but her eyes still sparkled with life. When she saw Richard, her face changed completely. "Oh my God in heaven," she whispered, pressing a hand to her chest. "It can't be." "Grandma, what's wrong? He's nice. He walked me home." Esther stared fixedly at Richard, as if she were seeing a ghost. What's your name, young man?" "Richard Anderson." The woman leaned against the doorframe, breathing heavily. "Little Richie, my boy. You came back. I'm sorry, ma'am, but I think you've mistaken me for someone else." No mistake. You look just like your father when he was young, and those eyes, always the same as your mother's." Richard felt the world spin. How did this woman know his parents? "I don't understand." "Come in, my son. We have a lot to talk about." Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, continuing. The inside of the house was simple but clean. Esther prepared coffee, while Lily played with a rag doll in the corner of the room. "I took care of you when you were a baby," Esther said, pouring coffee into a chipped cup. "I worked in your parents' house for 15 years. Richard tried to remember, but his childhood memories were hazy. His parents had always changed staff frequently. "I don't remember you. You were very young when I left, about 2 years old. Your mother sent me away suddenly without explanation." "Why?" Esther took a deep breath. "She said I was raising you poorly, that I was making you too attached to me. But the truth is, she was jealous. You'd run to me when you got hurt, asked me to sing you to sleep." "And my father? Did he agree?" "Your father tried to defend me. He even yelled at your mother, said it was unfair. But in the end, she was the one who ruled the house." Richard sipped his coffee in silence, trying to process the information. His childhood had been lonely, with absent parents and a string of nannies who never stayed long. "After I left your house, I found other jobs, but I never forgot the sweet boy I cared for. When Lily was born and became an orphan, I moved here. It's all I can afford on my pension." "Is Lily your granddaughter?" "The daughter of my heart. Her mother was like a daughter to me, but she passed when Lily was 2, left the girl with me and never came back." Richard looked at Lily, who hummed softly as she played. The similarity to his own childhood unsettled him. "And you taught her to pray for people?" "Lily has a special gift. Since she was little, she sensed when someone's hurting. I just teach her to channel that gift for good. Don't you think it's dangerous to let her go out alone? She never strays far from home, and she has good instincts about people. Today she came home saying she'd met a very sad man who lost someone named Emily." Richard's heart raced again. "How did she know about Emily?" "I don't know, my son. But Lily's always right about these things. Who is Emily?" Richard was silent for a long moment. He'd never spoken about Emily to anyone. It was a deep wound. "She is my daughter." "Was?" "My ex-wife stopped me from seeing her 5 years ago. Emily was only 2 when we separated. I've tried everything legally, but she moved upstate and got a restraining order against me." "Why?" "She said I was obsessed with work, that I neglected my family. And maybe she was right." Richard ran a hand through his hair. "By the time I realized I was losing them, I tried to change, but it was too late." Esther stood and walked to an old dresser in the corner of the room. She returned with a yellowed photo. "Your father came looking for me 2 years after I left your house." Richard took the photo. It was his father, younger, holding a tiny boy in his arms. The boy was him. "He said he'd made a terrible mistake letting your mother send me away. That you cried every night asking for Esther. He wanted to pay me some money to make up for the lost years. And you accepted?" "I didn't want his money, but I agreed to let him visit me sometimes. He'd come here, have coffee, and talk about you. He said he was worried because you were growing up so closed off, not showing affection to anyone." Richard felt a lump in his throat. His father had passed away 10 years ago, and they had never been close. "He told me you two argued a lot. We never understood each other. I thought he was weak, that he let my mother dominate him. Your father had a very kind heart, Richard. He just didn't know how to show it. He once told me he was afraid you'd repeat his mistakes." Lily Grace moved closer to the two. "Grandma Esther, why is the man sad again?" Esther picked up her granddaughter in her arms. "Sometimes people need to be a little sad before they can be truly happy. Can I say another prayer for him?" Richard looked at this child who barely knew him but genuinely cared. "Of course, Lily." The little girl closed her eyes again. "God in heaven, help Uncle Richard understand that his daddy loved him very much, even if he didn't know how to say it right, and help him find a way to see Emily again, because missing someone hurts your heart so much." This time Richard couldn't hold back the tears. He cried like he hadn't since he was a child, while Esther and Lily Grace comforted him in silence. When he calmed down, Richard looked around the simple house and felt something he hadn't in a long time: warmth. "Esther, can I ask you something?" "Of course, my boy." "You didn't hold a grudge against my parents for sending you away unfairly?" "At first I did. I was angry, especially at your mother, but with time I understood that everyone carries their own pain. Your mother must have had her reasons for acting that way." "And did you forgive me too, for being a difficult child?" Esther chuckled softly. my boy. You weren't difficult. You were too loving for your own family. That's what bothered your mother. Richard stayed there until late afternoon, talking with Esther and playing with Lily Grace. For the first time in years, he felt at peace. As he prepared to leave, Esther held his arm. "Richard, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Don't give up on your daughter. She needs her father, even if she doesn't know it yet." "I've tried everything, Esther. I don't know what else to do. Sometimes we have to try a different way, with the heart, not just the head." On his way out, Lily Grace handed him a drawing made with worn-out crayons. "So you don't forget us." The drawing showed 3 people holding hands, a man in a suit, a little girl, and a gray-haired woman. "Thank you, Lily. Can I come back tomorrow?" "Of course. Grandma Esther always likes visitors." Richard walked back to Fifth Avenue with a heart lighter than it had been in years, but at the same time a growing unease settled inside him. How could he help Esther and Lily Grace without hurting their pride? When he got home, a luxury apartment in the Upper East Side, Richard felt lonelier than ever. The silence of those elegant rooms contrasted sharply with the warmth he'd felt in Esther's humble little house. He opened his laptop and researched the community where they lived. He discovered it was an old settlement, tolerated by authorities, but without proper land rights. The families there were always under threat of eviction. Richard knew these issues well. His legal consulting firm often represented developers interested in areas like that. A chill ran down his spine when he remembered a recent conversation with his partner, Michael Reynolds. They had discussed an urban revitalization project in downtown New York City, which included removing some encroachments to make way for commercial developments. Quickly, Richard opened the office files on his personal computer. He searched for the addresses involved in the project. His heart raced when he found what he feared. The alley where Esther and Lily lived was on the list of areas to be cleared. "This can't be," he muttered to himself. He double-checked the documents. There was no doubt. The company Richard had helped build was involved in the eviction of the only family that had shown him genuine kindness in decades. He grabbed the phone and called Michael. "Richard, what a surprise to hear from you at this hour. Everything all right?" "Michael, I need to talk to you about the urban revitalization project." "Now?" "Man, it's almost 10 at night." "It's important. Can I come over?" An hour later, Richard was in Michael's living room, a man 10 years his junior whom he'd met in college and invited to be his partner when he started the firm. "What's going on, Richard? You seem upset." "Do you know the alley near Broadway, close to number 1500? That squatter settlement? Of course, it's one of the areas we're clearing for the client. Why?" "Michael, how many families live there?" "About 20. "Richard, where are you going with this?" "These are people who've lived there for decades. They have children, grandchildren. Where will they go after the eviction?" Michael laughed dismissively. "Since when do you care about that? Our job is to represent the client, not solve the city's social problems. But can't we at least ensure these families are properly relocated?" "Richard, are you okay? You don't seem like the same person who closed that deal this morning." Richard fell silent, thinking how to explain what had happened to him. "I met a family living there, an elderly woman who used to work for my parents, and her granddaughter, a 5-year-old girl." "So what? They're just like anyone else. They'll figure it out." Michael's coldness cut deep. "Michael, when was the last time you talked to a child in need?" "Buddy, I donate to plenty of charities. I don't need to visit in person." "It's not the same." "Richard, you're being naive. If we get emotionally involved in every case, we won't be able to do our jobs." "What if our job is wrong?" Michael stood up, visibly annoyed. "Listen here, Richard. You brought me into this business. You taught me that law is a rational profession, not something clouded by sentimentality. Now you're saying this? People change, Michael. Well, I haven't, and I hope you haven't either, for the sake of our firm." Richard left Michael's house more confused than ever. For the first time in his career, he questioned the work he was doing. The next day, he returned to the alley to visit Esther and Lily. He found the little girl playing by the door, while Esther hung clothes on a makeshift clothesline. "Uncle Richard, you really came back." Lily ran to him, and he scooped her up. It was amazing how much joy that child radiated. I promised I would, didn't I? Grandma Esther was so happy yesterday after you left. She said it had been ages since she had such a nice visit. Esther approached, wiping her hands on her apron. How did you sleep, son? Thinking about a lot of things. Do you want to talk about it? Richard hesitated. How could he tell them about the eviction without causing panic? Esther, how long have you lived here? I moved here 8 years ago when Lily came along. Before that, I rented a tiny room in Chinatown, but with what I earned, I couldn't afford it anymore. And how did you get this place? A very kind man, Mr. Frank, who has since passed away, told me I could build here. He said he knew the owner of the land and that there wouldn't be any trouble as long as no buyer showed up. And do you feel safe here? Esther noticed the concern in Richard's tone. Why all these questions, my son? Did something happen? Richard decided to be honest. Esther, I need to tell you something. My firm handles real estate law. And yesterday I found out this land is tied to an urban development project. Esther's face paled. You mean they're going to kick us out? It's not certain yet, but it's a possibility. And you... Are you working on this project? The question stabbed Richard like a knife to the chest. Yes, but I didn't know you lived here when I took the case. Esther sank into a plastic chair, looking as if she'd aged 10 years in an instant. So now what? What are we supposed to do? I'll find a solution, I promise. Lily, who had overheard part of the conversation, walked up to him. Uncle Richard, are you going to let them take our home away? No, Lily, not a chance. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now, back to the story. Richard spent the next few days buried in the project's legal documents, searching for loopholes, inconsistencies, anything he could use to protect the community where Esther and Lily lived. He discovered the land had gone through several questionable transactions over the years. The last official owner was a shell company registered in a tax haven. But the deeper he dug, the more he realized he was in a delicate position. His firm had been hired precisely to clean up these legal issues and push the project forward. During a tense meeting with Michael, things came to a head. Richard, you're sabotaging our own work. The client is complaining about delays. I'm just being thorough with the documentation. Thorough. You're inventing problems where there aren't any. This is unethical toward our client. And kicking families out of their homes without proper relocation is ethical? Since when is that our responsibility? Richard took a deep breath before responding. Michael, we need to talk about the direction of our partnership. What direction? We're making more money than ever. But at what cost? Richard, are you going through some personal crisis? Because you've been acting very strange lately. Maybe I'm just waking up to reality. What reality? The one where we should use our profession to do good, not just to pile up wealth. Michael laughed bitterly. You want to be an NGO lawyer now? If that's the case, count me out. What if I said that's exactly what I want? The silence that followed was heavy. Michael stared at Richard as if he didn't recognize him. You can't be serious. I'm completely serious. Richard, we built this firm together. You can't throw it all away over some emotional crisis. I'm not throwing anything away. I'm trying to make our work actually mean something. What about the clients, the ongoing contracts, our financial obligations? We'll honor all of it. But from now on, I'll only take cases with a positive social impact. Michael stood abruptly. You've lost your mind. You're throwing away a 20-year career over some old lady and a kid you barely know. The mention of Esther and Lily stirred something in Richard. That old lady and that kid taught me more about humanity in 2 days than I've learned in decades. Humanity doesn't pay the bills, Richard. Maybe it's time to figure out what's really worth paying for. The argument intensified over the following days. Michael threatened to sue Richard for abandoning their partnership. Richard, in turn, dove even deeper into the project's documentation, determined to find a legal way to protect the community. That's when he made a surprising discovery. Among the old records at the county office, he found a deed from 1987 showing the land had been donated to the city by a philanthropic businessman, with the specific condition that it be used for public housing. Eureka! He shouted alone in his office. The donation had never been properly registered, and the land had been illegally sold years later by corrupt city officials. Richard now held proof that the entire chain of ownership was flawed. The eviction project had no legal basis, but he knew this discovery meant the definitive end of his partnership with Michael and the loss of several important clients. That night, he went to talk to Grandma Esther and Lily. "I have good news," he said, showing them the documents. "This land was legally donated for public housing. You have the right to stay here." Grandma Esther looked at him skeptically. "And what's the cost to you?" "What do you mean?" "My dear, I'm not a fool. I know you're risking your job to help us. What price will you pay?" Richard sighed. "I might lose my firm. My partner is already threatening to sue me." "And you're willing to pay that price for people you barely know? Esther, you two have given me something I lost a long time ago." "What?" "The feeling that my life has purpose." Lily, who had been drawing on the floor, came closer to him. "Uncle Richard, can I ask you something?" "Of course, sweetheart." "Are you doing this because you want to go to heaven?" Richard chuckled softly. "I don't know if heaven exists, Lily, but I know I want to sleep peacefully every night. Grandma Esther always says that when we do good, good comes back to us in ways we don't expect. Do you believe that?" "I do. Because ever since you showed up, Grandma Esther's been happier. And so have I." Richard felt a deep emotion wash over him. "And I've been happier too, Lily." "Then that means it's already working." In the days that followed, Richard worked tirelessly to formalize the community's legal standing. He filed a lawsuit challenging the entire chain of ownership and requesting land regularization in favor of the residents. Michael, furious, began proceedings to forcibly dissolve their partnership, citing breach of contract and emotional damages. "You're destroying everything we built," he said during one last attempt at reconciliation. "I'm building something new, Michael. Something with real value." "Real value?" "Richard, you'll be broke in a few months. How will you pay your bills?" "I'll figure it out. I always have." "And when reality hits? When you have to choose between paying rent or playing the hero?" "I'll cross that bridge when I get to it." The final break happened on a rainy Tuesday afternoon. Richard left the office that had been his second home for 15 years, carrying only a box of his personal belongings. Outside, Grandma Esther and Lily were waiting for him. "What are you doing here?" he asked, surprised. "We came to support you," said Grandma Esther. "Lily insisted we had to be here today." "How did you know it would be today?" "Grandma Esther dreamed it," Lily answered simply. Richard looked at them and felt that even though he had lost his firm, he had gained a family. "Let's get some ice cream," he suggested. "Can I pick 2 flavors?" Lily asked excitedly. "You can pick as many flavors as you want." As they walked down the street, Grandma Esther touched Richard's arm. "My dear, can I tell you something I've never told anyone?" "Of course." "Your father came to see me shortly before he left this world. He said he was worried about you, that you'd become a successful man but empty inside." Richard stopped walking. "He said that?" "He said he raised you to be strong, but forgot to teach you how to be happy. And he asked me something very strange." "What?" "He asked me to pray that you'd find your way back to the kind boy you were as a child." Richard felt his eyes well up again. "And did you pray?" "Every day since then. And when Lily came into my life, I asked her to help me with the prayers." Richard looked at Lily, who was licking a strawberry and vanilla ice cream with the utmost ease. "You mean?" "That Lily's been praying for you for a long time, even before she knew you." The revelation hit Richard like lightning. Everything made sense now. The chance meeting on the street, the inexplicable knowledge about Emily, the immediate connection he'd felt with those 2 people. "Grandma Esther," said Lily, still licking her ice cream, "can I tell Uncle Richard about the dream I had last night?" "What dream, sweetheart?" "I dreamed Uncle Richard would find Emily again, and she'd run and give him a really tight hug." Richard knelt to her level. "What did she look like in your dream?" "All grown up, with really pretty hair." And she was crying happy tears. "Lily, why do you think you dreamed that?" "Because God in heaven likes it when families come back together." That night, Richard made a decision that would change his life forever. He picked up the phone and called a private investigator. "I need to find someone," he said. "My daughter." "How long have you been apart?" 5 years. "Do you have any idea where she might be?" "I know they're upstate from New York City. Her mother's name is Jennifer Parker, and the girl is Emily Anderson Parker. It'll take me a few days to look into it. Money isn't an issue. Just find my daughter." While waiting for news from the investigator, Richard threw himself into the case for the community where Esther and Lily lived. Without office resources, he worked from home, using his savings to cover legal expenses. Esther insisted on helping however she could, making lunch for him every day. "You don't have to do this," Richard said. "Yes, I do. You're taking care of us. Now it's our turn to take care of you." Lily had become his official assistant, organizing papers and asking simple questions that often helped him find solutions he hadn't considered. "Uncle Richard, why are the papers so hard to understand?" "Because lawyers like to complicate things, Lily. But you're a lawyer and you don't. I'm learning to simplify. Grandma Esther always says the most important things in life are simple. Your grandma is very wise." 3 weeks later, the investigator called with news. "I found your daughter. She lives in Boston with her mother. The girl attends a private school downtown." Richard's heart raced. How is she?" "Seems like a normal, healthy kid. Takes ballet classes on Saturday afternoons." "And the mother?" "Jennifer works as a manager at a department store. They live in a modest but tidy apartment." "What else did you find out?" "The restraining order against you is still active. Any contact could result in arrest." Richard sighed. Even knowing where Emily was, he couldn't approach her. "But," the investigator continued, "I found out Jennifer's been struggling financially. Ballet school is expensive, and she's behind on some payments." An idea began forming in Richard's mind. "Can you get me more details about their financial situation?" "I can, but may I ask why?" "Maybe I can help indirectly." In the days that followed, Richard carefully crafted a plan. Through an intermediary, he began anonymously paying for Emily's ballet school tuition, along with other expenses Jennifer had been struggling with. "Are you sure this is a good idea?" Esther asked when he shared his plan. "It's the only way I can look after her from a distance. And if Jennifer finds out it's you, I'll deal with that if it happens." Lily, who had been listening, stepped closer. "Uncle Richard, can I say a special prayer for Emily?" "Of course, sweetheart. God in heaven, please watch over Emily, whom Uncle Richard loves so much. Help her grow up happy and healthy. And if it's your will, let Uncle Richard meet her again when the time is right." Richard hugged Lily tightly. "Thank you, little one. You're welcome. That's what families do. They take care of each other." The word family echoed in Richard's mind. In just a few months, Esther and Lily had become more like family to him than many blood relatives. Dear listener, if you're enjoying the story, don't forget to like and especially subscribe to the channel. It helps us a lot as we're just starting out. Now continuing. 2 months later, Richard was working from home when he received an unexpected call. "Hello? Richard Anderson?" "Yes, who's speaking?" "My name is Jennifer Parker." Richard nearly dropped the phone. It was his ex-wife's voice. "Jennifer, how did you get my number?" "It wasn't hard. You're still a famous lawyer in New York City. What do you want?" There was silence on the other end. "I need to talk to you, in person." "Jennifer, you know I can't. I know about the restraining order, but there are things happening and I can't handle them alone." "What kind of things?" "I can't say over the phone." "Can you come to Boston on Saturday? Alone?" Richard hesitated. It could be a trap. Why? After 5 years, why now? Because Emily's been asking questions about you, and I don't know how to answer anymore." Richard's heart nearly leaped out of his chest. "What kind of questions?" "Richard, please, just come talk to me. There's so much I need to explain." "Where?" "Do you know Central Park, downtown Boston?" "I can find it." "Saturday, 2 in the afternoon. I'll be in a blue shirt, sitting on the bench near the lake." "And Emily?" She'll be at ballet class. I'd rather talk alone first. On Saturday morning, Richard was more nervous than he'd been in years. Esther and Lily noticed his anxiety. "Everything will be fine," Esther said, making him a strong cup of coffee. "What if she wants to push me even further away from Emily?" "She won't. A mother who calls her daughter's father after 5 years needs help." "You think so?" "I'm sure of it. A woman's intuition." Lily handed him a new drawing. "I made this for you to take." It was a sketch of a little girl holding hands with a man. Above it, in crooked letters, it read, "Dad and Daughter." "It's for you to give to Emily," Lily explained. "I don't know if I'll see her today, sweetheart." "You will. I can feel it." Richard kissed Lily's forehead and hugged Esther. "Thank you for taking care of me. Go on, son. And remember, be honest, be humble, and let your heart speak." The drive to Boston took 2 hours. Richard arrived at the park 30 minutes early, too restless to stay home. When he saw Jennifer sitting on the bench, wearing the promised blue shirt, time seemed to rewind. She was thinner, her hair shorter, but she was still the woman he'd fallen in love with 12 years ago. Jennifer. She turned and looked at him with an expression he couldn't decipher. "Richard, you came. You asked me to." They studied each other in silence for a few seconds. "Sit," she said, gesturing to the space beside her. Richard sat, keeping a respectful distance. "How are you?" she asked. "Confused, surprised, scared." "Afraid of what?" "Afraid you'll stop me from seeing Emily forever." Jennifer took a deep breath. "Richard, I need to apologize to you." "Apologize?" "These 5 years, I acted wrongly, selfishly." Richard didn't know how to respond. "When we separated, I was too hurt to think straight. You really neglected me, neglected our daughter. But I used that as an excuse to cut you out of her life completely. And that wasn't fair." "Why are you telling me this now?" Jennifer looked at the lake, choosing her words. "Because Emily is growing up, and she's been asking questions I can't answer without lying." "What kind of questions?" "Why doesn't my dad come see me? Doesn't he like me? Why do other kids have dads and I don't?" Each question felt like a knife in Richard's chest. "And what do you tell her?" "At first I said you were a bad person, that you didn't care about her. But as she grew older, I realized I was destroying her father's image in an innocent child's mind." "Jennifer, let me finish. There's more." Richard waited. "Someone has been paying her bills anonymously for the past 2 months. Ballet school, health insurance, even some toys that showed up at our door." Richard tried to keep his expression neutral. "And you think it's me?" "I know it's you. I recognize your way of caring for people." "What do you mean?" "You've always been generous, Richard. Even when we were married and you weren't paying attention, you always made sure we had everything we needed materially." "And does that bother you?" "No. It made me realize that, despite everything, you never stopped caring about her." Richard felt his eyes well up. "Jennifer, I think about Emily every day. Every single day. I dream about her, wonder how she is, if she's happy, if she ever needed me. She needs you, Richard." "She does." Yesterday, she asked if she could write a letter to her dad, said she wanted to tell him about her ballet recital. Richard couldn't hold back his tears. "And you let her?" "I said I'd think about it. That's why I called you." Can I see her?" Jennifer was silent for a long moment. "Richard, I'll be honest with you. These 5 years have been hard for me too. Raising a daughter alone, working, paying bills, dealing with her questions about you. I'm sorry. I tried to help through the courts, but I know. And I know I'm the one who built this wall, but now I need your help." "With what?" "Emily has been having some trouble at school. Nothing serious, but she's been withdrawn, asking a lot about family, about why we don't live together. Her therapist said it might help if she had some contact with you. Controlled, supervised, but contact." Richard could hardly believe what he was hearing. "Are you saying I can see her?" I'm saying maybe it's time we try to reconnect, for her sake. Jennifer, I've changed a lot these past 5 years. How? Richard thought of Grandma Esther and Lily, the transformation he'd gone through. I've learned to value what really matters. That professional success means nothing if you don't have the people you love beside you. And how do I know you won't neglect her again? Because I lost my firm 3 months ago defending a struggling family I met on the street, because I'd rather sleep in peace than on silk. Jennifer looked at him in surprise. You lost your firm? Long story, but yes, I did. And it was the best thing that's happened to me in years. Richard, you were always obsessed with work. How do I know this isn't just another phase? Richard pulled Lily's drawing from his pocket. A 5-year-old girl gave me this morning. She and her grandmother taught me more about true love in a few months than I'd learned in decades. Jennifer looked at the drawing and smiled for the first time. What girl? Richard told the story of his encounter with Lily and Esther, the transformation he'd experienced, the discovery about his own past. So you're living in an underprivileged community? Not exactly living there, but I spend most of my time there. They're my family now. And financially, how are you supporting yourself? I have some savings, and I've started doing pro bono legal work for needy families. It's not much money, but it's enough. Jennifer grew thoughtful. Richard, can I ask you a direct question? Of course. If Emily came back into your life, could you make her your priority, even if it meant making less money, having less professional success? Jennifer, I'd give up everything to have our daughter back in my life. Everything? Everything. Jennifer took a deep breath. Then let's try. Slowly, but let's try. Richard felt like he might burst with emotion. How? First, I'll talk to her. Explain that her dad wants to get to know her better, but that it needs to be a gradual process. And then, if she agrees, maybe you could meet here in the park 2 weeks from now. I'd stay nearby, just observing. Jennifer, I don't know how to thank you. Don't thank me yet. We have a long road ahead, and if at any point I see you slipping back into old habits, I won't go back, I promise. Richard, there's something I need to tell you about Emily. What? She's so much like you as a child, intense, sensitive, questioning. But she's also as stubborn as me. Richard chuckled softly. Dangerous combination. Very dangerous, but also very special. They talked for 2 more hours. Jennifer shared the developmental milestones Richard had missed. First steps, first words, the first day of school. Richard, in turn, spoke about his longing, the sleepless nights thinking of her, how he'd kept all the photos from when they were a family. When they said goodbye, Jennifer told him, Richard, I won't lift the protective order yet. I need to be sure this change is real. I understand. But if all goes well, maybe in the future we can find a way for you to have a normal father-daughter relationship. That's all I want. On the trip back to New York City, Richard was euphoric. He called Esther as soon as he arrived. So? She asked anxiously. Esther, I might see my daughter in 2 weeks. Thank God. I knew it would work out. How did you know? Because Lily spent the whole afternoon smiling for no reason, said she felt something very good had happened to you. Richard found Lily in the backyard, watering plants with a leaky can. Uncle Richard, you're back. Yes, I am, Princess. And I have good news. Did you see Emily? Not yet, but maybe I'll see her in 2 weeks. Lily dropped the can and clapped her hands. I knew it. I knew it would work. How did you know? Because this morning I prayed differently. I asked God in heaven not just to let you find her, but to make it happen at the right time when everyone was ready. Richard picked Lily up. You're a very special girl, you know that. Grandma Esther always says everyone's special in their own way. And she's right. That night, Richard could barely sleep from anxiety and anticipation. In 2 weeks, he might see Emily again. After 5 years of forced separation, there was finally a real chance for reconciliation. But the days that followed brought new challenges. Michael had obtained a court order freezing the firm's bank accounts, leaving Richard without access to his financial reserves. I can't afford the lawyer for the community case anymore, Richard said to Esther, visibly worried. What now? I'll have to represent you all myself, but that might hurt the case. Why? Because a lawyer who represents himself has a fool for a client, as the saying goes. Richard, you've already done so much for us. If needed, we'll move. You won't move. Not while I can prevent it. Lily, who was playing on the floor, looked up. Uncle Richard, why don't you ask the neighbors for help? What do you mean, sweetheart? Grandma Esther always says that when we can't solve something alone, it's because we need others' help. Esther smiled. The girl's right. How about we talk to the other residents in the community? About what? About joining forces. Maybe together we can find a solution. That afternoon, Esther organized a meeting at Mrs. Thompson's house, the longest-standing resident in the community. 15 people showed up, representing nearly every family. Everyone, Esther said. You know Richard. He's been helping us with the legal issues about staying here. And what can we do to help him? Asked Mr. Harrison, a 70-year-old retiree. Richard explained the situation, the discovery of documents proving their right to the land, but the lack of funds to cover the legal process until the end. How much money would be needed? Mrs. Thompson asked. About $15,000 for court fees and expert costs. The amount seemed daunting to the group of modest means. That's a lot of money, someone murmured. Then Mr. Harrison stood up. Folks, let me tell you something. I've worked for 40 years as a doorman in fancy buildings in the city. You know what I've learned? Everyone fell silent. I've learned that rich people solve problems with money. Poor people solve problems with unity. What do you mean, Harrison? Mrs. Thompson asked. Richard doesn't need $15,000 from us. He needs us to organize and show the court that this is a real community with roots, with history. Explain further, Esther urged. Who here has a child born in the community? Several hands went up. Who here has documents proving they've lived here for over 5 years? Almost everyone raised their hand. Who here has improved their home, planted trees, made upgrades? Again, nearly all. Then that's it. We'll put together a dossier showing this isn't a squatting, it's an established community. And that's worth more than $15,000 in any courtroom. Mr. Harrison's idea energized everyone. Over the following weeks, the community mobilized impressively. Each family brought documents, photos, proof of home improvements. Mrs. Thompson, a retired teacher, organized a detailed history of each family. Mr. Harrison secured recommendation letters from local merchants vouching for the residents' integrity. Esther coordinated a cleanup effort that left the entire community spotless. The children made colorful posters highlighting the benefits of living there. Richard was moved by the effort. You're doing more for your cause than I ever could alone, he said during one meeting. That's what we do, Mrs. Thompson replied. We look out for each other. During this legal preparation, Richard stayed in constant contact with Jennifer. She called every other day with updates on how Emily was reacting to the possibility of meeting her father. She's curious but also nervous, Jennifer shared. She asks if you're handsome, if you're tall, if you like ice cream. And what do you say? That she'll get to find out in person. And the meeting. Still on for next Saturday, 2 p.m. at the same park. Richard felt a mix of anxiety and anticipation that grew stronger each day. In just a few days, he would see his daughter after 5 years of separation. On the eve of their meeting, Richard was especially nervous. Esther noticed and prepared a calming tea. My son, you're shaking. What if she doesn't like me? What if I don't know what to say? Richard, you already won the love of a 5-year-old who barely knew you, she said, pointing to Lily. Why wouldn't you win your own daughter's love? It's different. Emily has reasons to resent me. A 7-year-old doesn't hold grudges, Richard. A 7-year-old just wants to meet her father. Lily approached with a small package. Uncle Richard, can I give you something to take to Emily? What is it, sweetheart? Lily unwrapped the package. It was a bracelet made of colorful beads. I made it for her, to show she has a friend rooting for her. Richard felt his eyes well up. Lily, you don't even know Emily. But any daughter of Uncle Richard must be really cool. What if she doesn't want the bracelet? She will, because it was made with love. That night, Richard barely slept. He woke up several times, checking the clock, eager for the moment of their meeting. In the morning, Esther made a special breakfast, and Lily picked out his outfit. "This blue shirt looks nice," she said. "It matches your eyes." "Do you think she'll like me?" "She will, because you're a real dad now." "What do you mean?" "Before you were just a man who had a daughter. Now you're a father who loves his child." Lily's wisdom always surprised Richard. "Thank you, little one." "Uncle Richard?" "Yes?" "When you come back, can I call Emily my cousin?" Richard laughed, kissing her forehead. "Of course, sweetheart. Of course." The trip to Boston had never felt so long. Richard arrived at the park an hour early, too nervous to stay at home. When he saw Jennifer approaching from a distance, accompanied by a dark-haired girl with a ponytail, his heart nearly leaped out of his chest. It was Emily, his daughter. No longer the baby he remembered, but a 7-year-old girl, as beautiful as her mother, with features he recognized as his own. Jennifer waved from afar and walked toward the bench where he sat. Emily followed, visibly curious, but shy. "Richard," Jennifer said when they got closer. "This is Emily." Richard stood, unsure what to do. He wanted to hug his daughter, to hold her, but he knew he had to respect her pace. "Hi, Emily. I'm your dad." The girl looked him up and down, assessing. "You're taller than I imagined," she finally said. Richard chuckled softly. "And you're more beautiful than I remembered." "Do you remember me when I was a baby?" "I do. You had a yellow teddy bear you never let go of." Emily's eyes lit up. "Honey, I still have him. Did you give him to me?" "I did." "On your first birthday?" Emily smiled for the first time. "Mom said you really wanted to see me again." "More than anything. I think about you every day." "Every single day?" "Every day. I wake up thinking of you and fall asleep thinking of you." "Why didn't you ever come to see me before?" The question stung, but Richard decided to be honest. "Because your mom and I had some fights, and she thought it was best for me to stay away for a while." "But now you don't fight anymore." Richard glanced at Jennifer, who nodded for him to answer. "Now we're trying to be friends again. For your sake." Emily seemed satisfied with the answer. "Did you bring me anything?" Richard smiled and pulled out Lily's bracelet from his pocket. "A friend of mine made this for you." "What friend?" "A girl your age who lives with me. Her name's Lily." Emily examined the colorful bracelet. "It's pretty. Can I meet her?" "If your mother allows it, you can meet them one day." "Mom, can I?" asked Emily to Jennifer. "Let's see how things unfold," replied Jennifer. They spent 2 hours in the park. Emily, after overcoming her initial shyness, proved to be a bright and curious child. She talked about school, her ballet lessons, and the books she loved to read. Richard listened to every word as if it were the most important thing in the world. "Dad, can I ask you something?" The use of the word dad moved Richard deeply. "Of course, sweetheart. Why don't you have a family? Mom said you live alone." Richard thought of Esther and Lily. "Actually, I do have a family. Not a traditional one, but I do." "What do you mean?" "Remember Lily, who made the bracelet for you? She lives with her grandma, who's like a mother to me now. Are they your relatives?" "Not by blood, but blood families aren't the only ones that exist. Sometimes we find people who become family in our hearts." Emily grew thoughtful. "So can I have 2 families, Mom's family and yours?" "You can, sweetheart, if you want to." "I do." When it was time to say goodbye, Emily hugged Richard for the first time. "Dad, can you come back next Saturday?" Richard looked at Jennifer, who nodded in agreement. "I can, Princess." "And can you bring Lily with you?" "If your mother allows it. Please, Mom, I want to meet my heart sister." Jennifer smiled. "She's not exactly a heart sister, Emily. More like a special friend of your dad's." "Whatever. I want to meet her." On the drive back to New York City, Richard couldn't stop smiling. The meeting had gone better than he'd hoped. Emily was a sweet, intelligent girl and had shown genuine interest in getting to know him better. When he arrived at the community, Esther and Lily were waiting anxiously. "So?" asked Esther. "How did it go?" "Wonderful. She's beautiful, smart, kind." "Did she like you?" asked Lily. "I think so. And she wants to meet you next Saturday. Really? She wants to meet me? She does. She even called you her heart sister. Lily beamed. Can I draw her a picture? You can draw as many as you want. That night, Richard lay down with a sense of wholeness he hadn't felt in years. His daughter was back in his life, even if gradually. Esther and Lily were his chosen family. And soon, perhaps all the people he loved could meet and spend time together. However, the following days brought unexpected complications. Michael had escalated his legal battle against Richard, securing a new injunction that barred him from practicing law indefinitely until the partnership dissolution issues were resolved. I can't represent the community officially anymore, Richard told Esther and Mr. Harrison during an emergency meeting. What now? Asked Mrs. Thompson. You'll have to hire another lawyer, or represent yourselves. With what money will we hire another lawyer? Questioned Mr. Harrison. I don't know. I'm sorry, everyone. I've let you down. You haven't let us down, Esther said firmly. You taught us we have rights, organized us, gave us hope. We can handle the rest ourselves. Esther, it's not that simple. Richard, Mr. Harrison interrupted, you may not be able to represent us officially, but you can still teach us what to do, right? I can, but that's not enough to win a complex legal case. That's when Lily, who had been playing in the corner, approached. Uncle Richard, you can't be a lawyer, but you can be a teacher, right? What do you mean, sweetie? You can teach the neighbors everything they need to know, then they can go to court and talk to the judge themselves. Lily's idea made Richard's eyes light up. Actually, that might work. You can file a class action lawsuit like a neighborhood association. I can guide you on how to do it, but you yourselves would be the plaintiffs. And would that work? Asked Esther. Maybe, especially if you present all the material you've already collected in an organized way. From that point on, Richard became an informal teacher for the community. Every afternoon, he taught the residents about fundamental rights, legal procedures, how to organize documents, and how to behave in court. Mrs. Thompson, with her experience as a teacher, helped organize the lessons. Mr. Harrison questioned everything, forcing Richard to explain each concept simply and clearly. If the judge uses a word you don't understand, ask him to explain, Richard instructed. He has an obligation to make himself clear to every citizen, no matter their education level. And what if he gets impatient? Asked one of the residents. A judge who gets impatient with a citizen exercising their constitutional right is a judge who isn't doing their job properly. During this preparation period, Richard kept his weekly meetings with Emily. Each week, their relationship grew more natural and affectionate. On the third meeting, Richard brought Lily along as promised. The meeting between the two girls was magical. Emily, an only child, was enchanted by Lily's spontaneity and sweetness. Lily, in turn, treated Emily like a princess. You're very pretty, Lily said as soon as they met. You too. I like your bracelet, Emily replied, showing the gift on her wrist. I made it thinking of you. Each color means something good I wished for you. What kind of good things? Blue is for you to always be happy. Pink is for you to feel loved. Yellow is for you to shine like the sun. Emily was charmed by Lily's purity. Can I be your friend forever? Of course. And can I call you my heart sister? Yes. And what should I call you? Lily thought for a moment. Big sister, because you're older and know more than me. From that day on, the two became inseparable during their visits. They played together, shared secrets, and made plans for the future. Jennifer watched everything with a smile. Richard, do you see how happy she is? She commented during one of their meetings. They both are. I think they've filled a void in each other's lives. Emily always wanted siblings. And Lily? Lily has always taken care of everyone like a little sister. Now she can actually be someone's little sister. Richard, can I ask you a personal question? Of course. Do you plan to remarry? Have more children? Richard thought about the question. I don't know. I've never really thought about it. Why? Because Emily asked me if you had a girlfriend, and when I said I didn't know, she said she wanted you to find a nice girlfriend so you wouldn't be alone. Richard laughed. And what did you say? That these things happen when they're meant to, but I admit I'm curious about your plans. Jennifer, right now my priority is rebuilding my relationship with Emily and helping the people who've become my family. Romance isn't in my immediate plans. I understand, but Richard, when you're ready for that possibility, I hope you choose someone who treats Emily well. You can count on that. The conversation made Richard reflect on the future. For the first time in years, he could imagine possibilities beyond work and professional success. Meanwhile, in the community, preparations for the lawsuit were progressing. The group had organized impressively, with each family taking on specific responsibilities. Esther coordinated the documentation. Mrs. Thompson prepared the testimonies. Mr. Harrison organized the physical evidence of the improvements made to the houses. "Richard," said Mrs. Thompson during one of the last preparatory meetings, "we wanted to thank you for everything you've done for us. You don't have to thank me. You're the ones who taught me what really matters in life." "Even so," continued Mr. Harrison, "we want you to know that no matter the court's decision, you'll always be welcome here." "This community is my home now," Richard replied. "I don't plan on going anywhere." On the eve of the court hearing, Richard was nervous for his friends in the community. He had done everything he could to prepare them, but he knew they'd be facing well-paid, experienced lawyers. Esther noticed his worry. "My son, you've done your part. Now it's up to God and the law." "But what if you lose? What if I didn't prepare you well enough? Then we'll move and keep living. But at least we tried with dignity." "Esther, you don't deserve to be forced out of here. And you don't deserve to carry this guilt on your shoulders. You've already done more for us than anyone was obligated to do." Lily approached with a new drawing. "Uncle Richard, I made this for you to take to court tomorrow." It was a colorful sketch of small houses with people holding hands and smiling in the middle. "Above each house, I wrote the name of who lives there," Lily explained, "to show the judge that real families live here." Richard was moved by the girl's thoughtfulness. "Lily, are you sure I can show this to the judge?" "Yes, because it's true, and Grandma Esther always says the truth is stronger than any lie." On the day of the hearing, Richard accompanied the group to the courthouse but waited outside during the session since he couldn't officially be part of the case. Esther entered as the community's main representative. Mrs. Thompson brought all the organized paperwork. Mr. Harrison carried photos of the improvements made to the neighborhood. And Lily insisted on going too, clutching her colorful drawing. "Why do you want to take Lily?" Richard asked Esther. "Because she represents our community's future, and because any judge who isn't moved by an honest child isn't a real judge." The hearing lasted 3 hours. Richard waited anxiously outside, pacing the courthouse hallway. When they finally emerged, the group was beaming. "So?" Richard asked eagerly. "The judge said he'll give his decision in 2 weeks," Esther replied, "but I think it went well." "How did you all do?" "Mrs. Thompson was perfect presenting our documents," said Mr. Harrison. Esther moved everyone when she spoke about the community's importance. "And Lily?" "Oh, Lily stole the show," Esther laughed. When the judge asked if she liked living in the community, she said she loved it because she learned family doesn't need to share the same last name. "What about the other side's lawyer?" "He tried to intimidate us, but it didn't work. We were prepared thanks to you." "And Lily's drawing?" "The judge asked to see it," Lily said proudly. "And when I explained that each little house was a real family, he smiled." Richard was proud of the group. No matter the outcome, they had carried themselves with dignity and courage. 2 weeks later, Esther got a call from the courthouse. "Richard," she shouted, running to his house. "The decision is in. And we won. The judge recognized our right to the land and ordered the legalization." Richard picked Esther up and spun her around. "We did it! You did it!" "We did it," Esther corrected. "All of us together." The news spread quickly through the community. There was celebration, hugs, tears of joy. Mr. Harrison gave an emotional speech. "Today, we proved that unity is stronger than money, and that justice still exists in this country." Mrs. Thompson baked an improvised cake with the ingredients she had at home. Lily ran from house to house sharing the news with everyone. That night, Richard called Jennifer to deliver the update. "Jennifer, we did it. The community won the case." "That's wonderful, Richard. Emily will be so happy. She's always asking about Esther and Lily." "How is she?" "Great. Actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. What is it? Emily has been asking if she can spend a weekend with you. What do you think? Richard nearly dropped the phone. Really, she wants to. She really does. She said she wants to see where you live, get to know Esther and Lily better, and see what your life is like. And you'd be okay with that? I think it's time. You two have been meeting for 2 months now, and she's completely comfortable with you, and I trust you now. Jennifer, I don't know how to thank you. No need to thank me. It's her right to spend time with her dad. When? How about next weekend? I'll drop her off with you Saturday morning, and you can bring her back Sunday afternoon. Richard was too excited to sleep. Finally, he'd have his daughter at home, even if just for 2 days. Esther was thrilled by the news. Let's get everything ready for our little princess, she said. Where will she sleep? Asked Richard. My apartment only has 1 bedroom. She can sleep with me, Lily offered right away. I'll let her use my bed and I'll sleep on the floor. No, Lily. I'll take the couch. Absolutely not, Esther interjected. All 3 of you will stay in your apartment, a family together. What do you mean? Richard, you have a pull-out couch in the living room, right? Emily can sleep there. You and Lily can share your bed. Just for 1 night, it won't hurt anyone. Esther, I don't think that's appropriate. Richard, that's what family is. Sometimes we squeeze in a little to make room for everyone. And Lily's only 5. There's nothing wrong with her sleeping in the same bed as her honorary dad. Esther's logic made sense, and Richard liked the idea of having both his daughters close to him at night. The weekend arrived faster than Richard expected. On Friday, he and Lily went shopping to prepare for Emily's visit. What does Emily like to eat? Asked Lily. I'm not sure. Let's get a variety of options. They filled the cart with fruit, yogurt, cookies, ingredients for a cake, and natural juices. Uncle Richard, can I give her my teddy bear to sleep with, and are you sure it's your favorite? Yes, big sisters are more important than teddy bears. On Saturday morning, Richard was more nervous than he'd been in years. It was the first time Emily would be in his home, his space. When Jennifer arrived with Emily, the little girl carried a small backpack and a huge smile. Dad, I finally get to see your house. Welcome, Princess. This is our home. Jennifer stayed for a few minutes, going over schedules and care with Richard. Any food restrictions? He asked. No bell peppers, and she doesn't like soda, prefers natural juice. Anything else? She sleeps with a small nightlight. She's a little afraid of the dark. Got it. Richard, if anything happens, any emergency, you call me, okay? Of course. Jennifer kissed Emily goodbye and left. For the first time in 5 years, Richard was alone with his daughter. So, asked Emily, what are we gonna do? Whatever you want, Princess. I want to see your house, Lily's room, meet Esther. Then let's start the tour. Richard showed Emily around his apartment. She loved the view from his bedroom window, which overlooked a small park. It's beautiful, Dad. Do you live here alone? I do, but now you two are here, so I'm not alone anymore. Then they went to Esther and Lily's place. The 2 girls hugged as if they hadn't seen each other in months, even though they'd met just a week earlier. Emily, Lily squealed, come see what I planted for you. In the small backyard, Lily had planted a sunflower seedling in a hand-painted pot. It's for you to take to your house, Lily explained, so when the sunflower grows, you'll remember us. Emily was moved. Lily, you're the sweetest heart-sister anyone could have. Grandma Esther prepared a special lunch, roasted chicken with potatoes, rice with carrots, and a colorful salad. Mrs. Esther, you cook so well, Emily praised. Thank you, my dear, it's made with lots of love. Can I call you Grandma Esther too? Esther was touched. Of course you can, my heart-granddaughter. That afternoon, Richard took the 2 girls to see the park near his apartment. They played on the playground, ran on the grass, and fed the ducks by the pond. Dad, can I ask you something? Emily said as they rested in the shade. Of course, sweetheart. Why don't you get a girlfriend? The question caught Richard off guard. Why do you ask? Because you're handsome and nice, and Lily needs a mum too. Richard looked at Lily, who was playing with flowers on the ground. Lily, would you like to have a mum? Lily stopped playing and thought for a moment. I have Grandma Esther, but it would be nice to have a mom too, especially if she was as nice as Emily's mom. And do you both think I should look for a girlfriend? Yes, they said in unison. And how do you think I should do that? Ask God in heaven to send you a nice lady, Lily suggested. And be kind to the ladies you meet, Emily added. Richard laughed at their practicality. I'll think about it. That night after dinner, they watched a children's movie in the living room. Emily and Lily snuggled up on either side of Richard on the couch. Dad, I wish every weekend could be like this, Emily said. Me too, Princess. Do you think Mom would let me come more often? I think so, especially if you behave well at school and listen to her at home. I'll be the best daughter in the world. At bedtime, Richard set up the pull-out sofa for Emily and placed a small lamp in the corner of the room. Is it comfortable? He asked. It's perfect. Dad? Yes? Thank you for bringing me to your home. Thank you for coming. Dad? What is it, sweetheart? I love you. Richard felt his eyes well up. I love you too, Emily. More than you can imagine. In the bedroom, Lily was buzzing with excitement. Uncle Richard, Emily is so nice. She is, sweetheart. Can I sleep hugging you tonight? I'm so happy and don't want to sleep alone. Richard hugged Lily. Of course you can. Uncle Richard? Yes? Now we have a real family, right? We do, Lily. A beautiful family. That night, Richard slept more peacefully than he had in years. His two girls were there, close to him, safe and happy. On Sunday morning, he woke up to the smell of coffee. He found Esther in the kitchen preparing a special breakfast. Esther, you didn't have to... Yes, I did. It's the first time our princess wakes up in your home. It has to be special. Emily woke up excited. Good morning, Dad. Good morning, Grandma Esther. Where's Lily? Still sleeping. She always takes her time to wake up. Can I go wake her? Sure, but be gentle. Emily went to the bedroom and returned holding Lily's hand. She woke up smiling, Emily said. She told me she dreamed we were a real family. And we are, Richard said. We are a real family. During breakfast, Emily said, Dad, can I say something serious? Of course. I want to come live with you. Richard nearly choked on his coffee. Emily, I know Mom won't allow it now, but when I'm older, I can choose where to live, right? You can. But that's a very important decision that needs careful thought. I've already thought about it. I want to live where there's real love, and here there is. Richard hugged his daughter. Emily, no matter where you live, you'll always have my love, and you'll always be welcome here. When it was time to take Emily back to Boston, everyone was a little sad. Don't take too long to come back, said Lily, hugging her sister. I won't, and you can visit me too. Really, Uncle Richard? If Grandma Esther allows it and Jennifer doesn't mind, then yes. On the way back, Emily was thoughtful. Dad, can I tell you a secret? Of course, honey. I always knew you were a good dad. What do you mean? Even when I was little and didn't see you, I dreamed about you. And in my dreams, you always protected me and made me laugh. Richard felt his eyes well up. And now? Do the dreams match reality? They do. You're exactly how I imagined. When they arrived at Jennifer's house, she was eager to hear about the weekend. So, how was it? She asked Emily. It was the best weekend of my life, the girl replied. Dad, you promised I could come back next week, right? If your mum says yes, then of course. Jennifer looked at Richard. I think that's fine. Did you behave? I did. And Dad cooks really well. And Grandma Esther is so sweet. And Lily is the sister I always wanted. After Emily went inside to put her things away, Jennifer spoke to Richard. She's glowing. I've never seen her so happy. It was a perfect weekend for me too. Richard, can I be honest with you? Of course. You've changed a lot. For the better. How so? The man I met 12 years ago was ambitious, smart, but emotionally distant. The man in front of me now is warm, present, caring. People change, Jennifer. Not all of them. and not always for the better. But you did, and that makes me happy for Emily. Thank you. Richard, can I ask you something? Sure. Let's not make anything official through the courts yet, but how about we set up a routine? Emily spends weekends with you, and maybe some school breaks. Richard could hardly believe what he was hearing. Are you serious? Completely. Emily needs her father, and you've shown yourself to be a present, responsible dad. Jennifer, I don't know how to thank you. No need. It's the right thing to do. On the drive back to New York City, Richard called Esther to share the news. Esther, we did it. Emily's coming every weekend. Thank God, Lily's been crying since you left. Crying? Why? She didn't want Emily to go. Said she finally had a real sister. And now, how is she? Better. She's making a drawing to give Emily next weekend. In the months that followed, the routine settled naturally. Emily came every Saturday morning and left Sunday afternoon. Esther, Richard, and Lily organized themselves to welcome her the best they could. Richard renovated a corner of his apartment to be Emily's space, buying a small fold-out bed for weekends. Lily insisted on sharing the room, and the two became true sisters, making plans, sharing secrets, fighting like real siblings, then making up. Esther delighted in having two granddaughters to spoil, cooking special meals, telling old stories, and teaching them crochet and embroidery. Richard rediscovered the joy of being a father. He took the girls to the park, the movies, the bookstore. He helped with homework, joined their games, and patiently listened to all their stories. But the biggest change came months later, on an ordinary weekend. Richard was in the kitchen making lunch when Esther appeared with a worried expression. Richard, I need to talk to you. What is it, Esther? You seem worried. I am. It's about Lily. Richard put down the spoon he'd been using to stir the sauce. What happened to Lily? Her mother showed up. The world seemed to stop. What do you mean, showed up? Yesterday, when you weren't here, she knocked on the door, said she wanted her daughter back. Richard felt his legs go weak. And what did you say? I told her I needed to talk to you first, that the girl isn't an object we just hand over to anyone. How is she? Does Lily know? She does. She's in her room, confused and scared. And the mother. What exactly did she say? That she has a steady job now, an apartment, a boyfriend who wants to meet her daughter, that she can take care of Lily properly now. Richard sat down on the kitchen chair, trying to process the information. Esther, legally, do you have any rights over Lily? No, I don't. She left the girl with me, but we never made it official. I took care of her because I wanted to, because I love her. And the mother has legal rights. Yes, she's the biological mother. Richard ran his hands through his hair. Where is she now? She said she'd come back this afternoon to get the girl. Today? Today. Richard stood up abruptly. I need to talk to Lily. He found the girl in her room, clutching her stuffed bear, her eyes red from crying. Lily, sweetheart, come here. She ran into his arms. Uncle Richard, my mom wants to take me away. I know, sweetheart. But I don't want to go. I want to stay with you and Grandma Esther and Emily. Richard felt his heart breaking. Lily, your mother misses you. She's your blood family. But you're my heart family. And Grandma Esther always says, heart family is stronger. It is, sweetheart. But sometimes blood families deserve a second chance too. What if she takes me away and I never see you again? That won't happen. I promise we'll find a way to keep seeing each other. Do you really promise? I promise. But Richard didn't know how he'd keep that promise. That afternoon, a woman around 30 knocked on the door. It was Stephanie, Lily's mother. There were obvious physical similarities between mother and daughter. You must be Richard. Esther told me about you, she said. I am. And you're Stephanie? Yes. I've come for my daughter. Stephanie, can we talk first? There's not much to talk about. She's my daughter and I'm taking her. Richard took a deep breath. I understand your position, but Lily has been here for 3 years. To her, this is home. And it was my mistake to let that happen. but now I can take care of her. How? I have a job as a sales clerk at a clothing store. I rented a one-bedroom apartment in Williamsburg, and my boyfriend is great with kids. And emotionally? Are you ready to be a mother? Stephanie got irritated. Listen, I've always been her mother. I just went through a rough patch and needed some time. 3 years is a long time in a child's life. I know, but I can't change the past. I can only try to make the future better. Esther arrived then, holding Lily's hand. Lily, Stephanie said, opening her arms. Mommy's here to take you home. Lily hid behind Esther. She's scared, Esther explained. It's been 3 years with no contact. Lily, Stephanie insisted, I'm your mother. You don't have to be afraid. I know you're my mom, Lily said in a small voice. But why did you leave? The question hit Stephanie hard. Sweetheart, Mommy was going through some really big problems, but everything's okay now. What kind of problems? Stephanie glanced at Richard and Esther, uncomfortable. Adult problems, things a child doesn't need to know. Richard stepped in. Stephanie, can I make a suggestion? What? How about you two get to know each other again gradually? Lily could spend some afternoons with you, come back here to sleep until she gets used to it. No, I want to take her today. But why the rush? Because I've already lost 3 years of her life. I don't want to miss another single day. I understand your side, but think about hers too. Lily approached Richard. Uncle Richard, can I talk to you alone? Of course, sweetheart. They stepped away to the backyard. Uncle Richard, do I have to go with her? Legally, yes. She's your mother. What if I don't want to? Lily, maybe it'll be good for you to get to know your mom better. Give her a chance. But what if I don't like her? What if she leaves again? Then you come back here. I promise there will always be a place for you. Even if I live far away? Even if you live far away, Lily thought for a moment. Uncle Richard, can I take my teddy bear? Of course you can. And can I call you if I get scared? You can call any time. What about Emily? How do I explain it to her? We'll explain it together. She'll understand. Uncle Richard? Yes, sweetheart. Thank you for taking care of me. Richard hugged Lily tightly, trying not to cry in front of her. Thank you for teaching me how to be a dad. When they went back inside, Stephanie was talking to Esther. Lily, said Stephanie, do you want to come with me? Lily looked at Richard, who nodded encouragingly. Can I take my things? Of course you can. Lily ran to her room and came back with a small bag, her teddy bear, some drawings, the rag doll Esther had made for her. Esther, said Stephanie, thank you for taking care of her. I cared for her with love, Esther replied. I hope you'll do the same. I will. Richard knelt to Lily's height. Sweetheart, you'll be okay. And remember, anything happens, you call us. I will. Uncle Richard? Yes? Don't forget about me. I could never forget you, Lily. You changed my life. Lily hugged Richard, then Esther. Grandma Esther, thank you for everything. Go with God, my dear. When Stephanie and Lily left, the house fell into a heavy silence. Richard sat on the couch, feeling a huge emptiness. Esther came to sit beside him. We're going to miss her. So much. But we did the right thing. Did we? Richard, did you see how much Lily grew these past months? How she became a confident, loving, smart little girl? I did. That stays with her forever. And if her mother doesn't take good care of her, Lily knows she has a place to come back to. And if her mother does take good care of her, if Lily is happy there, then we'll be happy for her, even if we miss her. That night, Richard called Jennifer to tell her what had happened. Wow, that's so hard, said Jennifer. How are you holding up? Sad, but trying to believe it's what's best for her. Richard, can I tell you something? Of course. You became an amazing father. What you did for Lily, how you loved her and let her go. That's real love. Thank you, Jennifer. And you know what? Emily was so proud when I told her. She said she's lucky to have a dad who knows how to love like that. How did she take Lily leaving? She was sad, but she said she understands, and she wants to write Lily a letter. Good idea. Richard, can Emily spend the whole week of her school break with you? I think you'll need company now. Richard smiled for the first time that day. Of course, that'll be great. In the weeks that followed, Richard and Esther adjusted to life without Lily. The house felt too big, too quiet. But Lily called almost every day. At first, the calls were short and shy. Then they grew longer, more natural. "Uncle Richard, my mum's nice," she said during one call. "That's great, sweetheart. I'm happy for you. But she's different from you and Grandma Esther." "How so?" "She likes TV more than talking, and she can't cook like Grandma Esther." "But is she taking good care of you?" "Yes, and her boyfriend Brian is nice too. He took me to the zoo on Sunday." "That's nice." "Uncle Richard." "Yes?" "Can I come visit you on Saturday?" Richard felt his heart race. "Do you want to come?" "I really do. My mom said it's okay if you pick me up and bring me back." "Of course I can. I'd love to." On Saturday, Richard went to pick up Lily at Stephanie's apartment. When he saw the girl running toward him at the building's gate, he felt overwhelming joy. "Uncle Richard, I missed you so much." "I missed you too, Princess." During the ride, Lily talked about her new life. "It's different, but it's good too. My mum is trying to learn how to take care of me properly." "And you? Are you happy?" "I am. But I miss you guys." "We miss you too." "Uncle Richard, can I still call you Uncle?" "Of course you can. Always." When they arrived, Grandma Esther was waiting at the door. Their reunion was emotional. "My little granddaughter, look how much you've grown." "Grandma Esther, I brought a drawing I made for you." It was a colorful drawing showing two houses. In one, Lily and a woman, her mom, stood together. In the other, Richard, Esther, and Emily were pictured. Connecting the two houses was a bridge where Lily appeared walking. "It's the bridge of love," Lily explained, "to show that even if we live far apart, we're still connected." Richard was moved by the girl's maturity. In the afternoon, Emily arrived for the weekend. The reunion between the two sisters was magical. "Lily, I thought you'd forgotten me." "I could never forget you, Emily. You're my heart sister forever." The two made up for lost time by playing, talking, and sharing secrets. During dinner, Lily made an announcement. "Guys, my mum said I can come here every Saturday if you want." "Of course we want to," Emily said. "Always," Esther added. Richard smiled, feeling that somehow his family was restructuring itself, but still staying united. "Lily, are you happy with your mum?" Emily asked. "I am. She's learning how to be a mom again, and I'm learning how to be her daughter again." "What about us? Are we still your family?" "You're my heart family. My mom is my blood family. I'm lucky. I have two families." That night, the two girls slept together in Richard's room, whispering late into the night. Richard caught fragments of their conversation, plans for the future, promises of eternal friendship, childhood dreams. For the first time since Lily had left, Richard slept peacefully. In the months that followed, a new routine settled in. Emily came every weekend. Lily visited every Saturday, spent the day, and went home at night. The dynamic worked perfectly. The girls kept their friendship strong. Richard got to watch Lily grow, and Esther had both granddaughters close by. Stephanie gradually became more open to the situation. She even thanked Richard and Esther for the care they'd given Lily. "You saved my daughter," she said during one conversation. "When I left her, she was a scared little girl. When I came back, I found a confident, loving young girl." "She was always special," Richard replied. "She just needed love and security. And you gave her that." Richard's life had found a balance he never thought possible. He had his biological daughter back, maintained a loving relationship with Lily, was cared for by Esther, and worked in a job with real meaning. His office had transformed into a legal consultancy for the underprivileged. He helped struggling families, vulnerable communities, and workers who needed guidance on their rights. He earned much less money than before, but he slept soundly every night with a clear conscience. Then, 6 months after Lily's departure, Richard received an unexpected call. "Hello? Richard, it's Stephanie." Her voice was shaky, nervous. "Stephanie, is everything okay? How's Lily?" "Richard, I need to talk to you urgently." "What happened?" "I can't talk about it over the phone. Can you come here?" "Now?" "If possible, yes." Richard felt a chill in his stomach. "Stephanie, is Lily okay?" "She's fine physically, but—" "Richard, I made a mistake." "What mistake?" "Please come here, I need your help." An hour later, Richard was at Stephanie's apartment door. She opened it with red eyes, visibly shaken. "Richard, thank you for coming." "What's going on? Where's Lily?" "She's in her room." "Richard, I can't do this anymore." "What do you mean you can't do this anymore?" Stephanie sat on the couch and began to cry. "I thought it would be easy. Like riding a bike. You never forget. But being a mother isn't like that." Richard sat beside her. "Stephanie, explain what's happening." "Lily is a wonderful child. Sweet, obedient, smart. The problem isn't her. The problem is me." "How so?" "Richard, I don't know how to be a mother. I never did. That's why I left her with Grandma Esther 3 years ago." "But you said you had problems." "I did. Depression, anxiety, panic attacks. But the biggest problem has always been, I don't have a mother's instinct." Richard stayed silent, trying to understand. "Stephanie, maternal instinct can develop." "Can it?" "Because I try, Richard. I wake up every day trying to be a good mother, but it feels unnatural to me. I force myself to show affection, force myself to be patient, force myself to play with her." "What about Brian? Doesn't he help?" "Brian broke up with me last week, said he wasn't ready to be a stepdad." Richard began to grasp the depth of the problem. "Stephanie, where are you going with this?" "Richard, can you take Lily?" "What do you mean, take her?" "Permanently, legally, I'll give up custody." Richard felt the world spin. "Stephanie, are you sure about what you're saying?" "I am." "Richard, I love my daughter, I truly do. But loving someone sometimes means recognizing you're not the right person to care for them. But what if you regret it?" "I won't. These 6 months have shown me Lily is happier with you than with me." "How do you know that?" "Because every Saturday she comes back glowing. And every Monday she's sad because she knows she won't see you again until next week." Richard stayed silent, processing what he was hearing. "Richard, will you take her? Do you want her?" "Stephanie, of course I do. Lily is like a daughter to me, but I need to talk to her first, and with Grandma Esther, and with Jennifer too." "Jennifer?" "My ex-wife. This will affect Emily as well." "I understand. And you? How will you be?" "I'll keep living my life. I'll go to therapy to work through my issues, and maybe one day I'll find a way to be happy without hurting anyone." Richard took a deep breath. "Can I talk to Lily?" "Of course." Lily was in her room, lying on the bed, flipping through a comic book. "Uncle Richard, what are you doing here?" "I came to talk to you and your mum about something important." "What is it?" Richard sat on the bed beside her. "Lily, how do you feel living here?" Lily thought for a moment. "It's different from when I lived with you and Grandma Esther." "Different how?" "Quieter, lonelier. Mom works a lot, and when she's home, she's usually on her phone or watching TV." "And do you feel happy here?" Lily hesitated before answering. "I feel taken care of. Mom gives me food, clean clothes, takes me to the doctor when I need it. But I miss talking, playing together, having a real family." Richard's heart ached. "Lily, your mom talked to me about a possibility. Want to know what it is?" "Yes." "She's thinking about letting you come live with me and Grandma Esther again, permanently." Lily's eyes lit up. "Really? I can go home?" "You consider that your home?" "Of course. It's where I feel like family. And your mom, won't you be sad being away from her?" Lily thought with the seriousness of a child who had to grow up too soon. "I'll miss her. But I think we get along better when we only see each other sometimes, not every day." "Why do you think that?" "Because when I visit her, she's happy to see me. When I live with her, she gets tired of me." The maturity of the answer surprised Richard. And would you like to come live with us again? I'd love to, but what if my mom gets sad? How about we all talk about this together? 15 minutes later, the three of them were sitting in the living room. Lily, said Stephanie, did you hear what Richard told you? Yes, I did. And what do you think? Mom, can I tell the truth? Of course. I want to live with Uncle Richard and Grandma Esther, but I don't want you to be sad. Stephanie hugged her daughter. Sweetheart, I won't be sad. I'll be relieved. Relieved? Because I'll know you're being taken care of by people who know how to care for a child better than I do. You don't know how to take care of me. I know how to give you food, clothes, a home, but I don't know how to give you what you need most: time, attention, love. And why don't you know? Stephanie sighed. Because I have problems in my head that make me always worried, always tired. It's not your fault, it's mine. Will those problems go away? I hope so. I'm getting treatment. And when they do, will you want to live with me again? I don't know, sweetheart, but I know I'll always want to see you, talk to you, and know how you're doing. Lily was thoughtful for a moment. So can I live with Uncle Richard and come visit you? Of course. And when you're better, we'll figure it out. Exactly. Lily looked at Richard. Uncle Richard, do you really want me to live with you again? Lily, having you in my life makes me so happy. And Grandma Esther? Grandma Esther will be overjoyed. And Emily? Emily too. Lily smiled. Okay then. Can I go pack? 2 hours later, Richard was driving back home with Lily in the passenger seat, humming a children's song. Uncle Richard, can I tell you something? Of course, sweetie. I knew this would happen. What do you mean you knew? I dreamed it. I dreamed that I came back home and that we'd be a family again. And in the dream, were you happy? So happy. And you know why? Why? Because in the dream, you had become my real dad. Richard felt his eyes well up. Lily, I already am your real dad. Maybe not on paper, but in my heart. Can I call you Dad? You can call me whatever you want, sweetheart. Then, Dad? Yes, daughter? Thank you for not giving up on me. Thank you for not giving up on us. When they got home, Esther was waiting at the gate. Lily ran into her arms. Grandma Esther, I'm home. Thank God, my little granddaughter. The house wasn't the same without you. That night, Richard called Jennifer to share the news. Jennifer, I need to tell you something important. What is it? Lily is living with us again, for good. Wow. How did that happen? Richard told her the whole story. Jennifer, this will change our routine. Now I'll have 2 girls at home on weekends. Richard, that's wonderful. Emily will be thrilled. Are you sure you're okay with it? Richard, seeing you as a loving and present father only makes me feel more at ease about Emily. Thank you for understanding. Richard, can I ask you something? Of course. How about we make Emily's situation official too? What if she comes to live with you permanently? Richard nearly dropped the phone. Jennifer, are you serious? Completely serious. Emily has been asking for months, and after what happened with Lily, I realized you're ready to be a full-time dad. And you? How will you feel? I'll come visit her on weekends. I'm going on vacation with her. But Richard, she needs to be where she feels most loved. And that place is with you. Jennifer, you don't have to thank me. It's the right thing to do. When Richard shared the news with Lily and Grandma Esther, their reaction was pure joy. Does that mean Emily is going to be my sister at home too? Lily asked. Yes, she is. And Grandma Esther will be both of our grandma. Yes, Esther replied, emotional. And you'll be both of our dad? I will. Then now we're a complete family. The following weekend, when Emily arrived and heard the news, it was a full-blown celebration. Daddy, can I really come live here? Yes, sweetheart. And will Lily live here too? Yes. And we'll be real sisters? You will. Emily hugged Lily. Lily, Now we're sisters by heart and by home." "It's the best gift of my life," Lily replied. That night, the two girls slept together, making plans for when Emily would move in permanently. Richard went to bed feeling a fullness he had never experienced before. In just a few months, he had gone from a lonely man obsessed with work to a father of two girls, part of a close and loving family. But life still had more surprises in store for him. 3 months later, when the new routine was already established, with Emily and Lily living together, attending the same school, and Esther caring for them as their official grandmother, Richard received an unexpected visitor. It was a Saturday afternoon. Richard was in the backyard helping the girls plant flowers when Esther appeared with an unfamiliar woman. "Richard, there's someone here who wants to speak with you." The woman looked to be in her 40s, with brown hair, a shy smile, and dressed simply but elegantly. "Richard Anderson." "That's me. How can I help you?" "My name is Sarah Wilson. I'm a social worker from Family Court." Richard felt a chill in his stomach. Was there some issue with the girl's custody? Did something happen? "No, nothing serious. Actually, I'm here about a very special case." "What case?" Sarah glanced at the girls playing in the yard. "Can we speak in private?" "Of course. Let's go inside." In the living room, Sarah opened a folder. "Mr. Anderson, have you ever heard of late adoption?" "Yes, but not much. Why?" "Because I have a case I believe might interest you." Richard was confused. "I don't understand. I already have 2 daughters." "I know. And from what I've investigated, you've been an exemplary father." "Thank you, but then, Mr. Anderson, there's a child who needs a family, an 8-year-old boy. And what does that have to do with me?" Sarah took a deep breath. "His name is Nathan. He's a very special, very intelligent child, but he's had trouble finding an adoptive family." "Why?" "Because he has some unique traits. Nothing severe, but many families feel intimidated." "What kind of traits?" "Nathan has mild autism. He's highly functional, does well in school, communicates normally, but he has some habits, some adjustment difficulties." Richard began to understand where she was going. "And why do you think he'd fit in here?" "Because after looking into your background, I found you have experience with vulnerable children. And because Nathan mentioned your name." "What do you mean, mention my name?" "Mr. Anderson, do you remember meeting a boy at a foster home a few years ago?" Richard thought, but couldn't recall. "I don't remember." "It was a volunteer project from your old firm. You all went to distribute toys at a shelter during Christmas in 2019. "Oh, yes, I vaguely remember, but it was very brief." "For you, it might have been brief. For Nathan, it was life-changing." Sarah opened the folder and showed him a child's drawing. "He did this last week. The drawing showed a man in a suit giving a toy to a boy. At the top, written in a child's handwriting, 'The good uncle who came back to take care of kids.'" Richard was moved. "Does he remember me?" "He does. And when he found out through other social workers that you had adopted 2 girls, he said he wanted to see you again." "See me how?" "Mr. Anderson, Nathan has no family left. He's been in foster care for 4 years. He's a sweet, affectionate boy, but he needs a lot of love and patience. And I think you could get to know each other better. No pressure, just to see if there's a connection." Richard fell silent, thinking, "Can I talk to my daughters and Esther about this?" "Of course, it's a decision that affects the whole family." That night, during dinner, Richard told Esther, Emily, and Lily about Sarah's visit. "A brother?" Emily asked, curious. "He'd be another member of the family," Richard explained. "Is he nice?" Lily asked. "I don't know, sweetheart. That's why we'd need to meet him first." "Dad, can I ask something?" Emily said. "Of course." "If this boy comes to live here, will there be less love for me and Lily?" The question struck Richard deeply. "Emily, my love, the heart isn't like a pizza we divide into slices. The heart is like a candle that lights other candles without losing its own flame." "What do you mean?" Lily asked. Esther stepped in with her natural wisdom. "Girls, when Lily joined our family, did Richard love Emily any less?" "No," Emily answered. "And when Emily came to live here, did I love Lily any less?" "No," Lily said. "Then you understand." Love doesn't shrink when shared. Love multiplies. But what if he doesn't like us? Lily asked. Then we'll give him time to adjust, Richard replied. No one's forced to like anyone right away. What if we don't like him? Emily asked. Same thing, family isn't just living together, it's about enjoying being together. Dad, can I meet him? Emily said. I want to meet him too, Lily added. Then we'll arrange a meeting. No pressure, just to get to know each other. The following week, Sarah brought Nathan to meet them at the park. Richard felt a nervousness he hadn't felt in years. When he saw the boy walking beside the social worker, Richard vaguely remembered him. Nathan was a thin boy with dark hair, big expressive eyes, but a shy way of carrying himself. Nathan, Sarah said, do you remember Mr. Anderson? The boy looked at Richard and smiled timidly. I do. You gave me a blue car for Christmas. Richard was surprised by the boy's detailed memory. You remember the color of the car? I remember everything. It was blue with white stripes. And you said I was a special boy. And you really are special, Nathan. Nathan looked around and saw Emily and Lily playing on the playground. Are those your daughters? Yes. Would you like to meet them? Nathan hesitated. Are they nice? They're very nice. But if you want, you can take your time getting to know them. Richard called the girls over and they came running. Girls, this is Nathan. Hi, Nathan, Emily said, holding out her hand. I'm Emily. Nathan looked at her hand for a moment before shaking it quickly. Hi, he said softly. Lily approached more slowly. Nathan, do you like to draw? Nathan's eyes lit up. I love it. It's my favorite thing. Me too. Want to see a drawing I made? Lily pulled a paper from her backpack and showed it to Nathan. It was a colorful drawing of a family. Nathan studied it carefully. You draw really well. The colors are all perfectly arranged. Thank you. Will you draw something for me someday? Sure. Richard observed the interaction carefully. Nathan was clearly a different kind of child, more observant, more detail-oriented, with more restrained movements. But there was a genuine sweetness about him. Nathan, Richard said, would you like to take a walk with us? Can I choose the path? Of course. Nathan led them on a specific route, always in the shade, avoiding noisy places, stopping to notice details others overlooked. Look, he said, pointing to a tree. There's a nest up there. There must be 3 eggs. How do you know? Emily asked. Because the mother bird made 4 trips this morning, 1 for each egg and an extra one to fix the nest. Lily was impressed. You watch the birds? I watch everything. It's how I understand the world. During the walk, Nathan shared that he liked math, drawing imaginary maps, and organizing things by color and size. He also said he didn't like loud places and sometimes needed time alone to organize his thoughts. At the home where I live, the other boys sometimes think I'm weird, Nathan admitted. Why? Lily asked. Because I do things differently. Like, I don't like when someone moves my things without asking. And sometimes I repeat words when I get nervous. Everyone has their own ways, Emily said. I sleep with the light on because I'm afraid of the dark. And I talk to myself when I'm thinking, Lily added. Nathan smiled for the first time since arriving. You don't think I'm weird? No, Richard said. We think you're special. And special is different from weird. At the end of the visit, Sarah spoke privately with Richard. What did you think? He's a sweet boy, smart. He just needs patience and understanding. And the girls. Richard looked at Emily and Lily, who were saying goodbye to Nathan. I think they liked him. Nathan told me he really liked you all. He asked if he could visit again. Of course he can. Mr. Richard, can I be honest? Of course. Nathan has been through 3 failed adoption attempts, not because he's a troubled child, but because the families couldn't handle his unique traits. What kind of traits? He has rituals that calm him. He needs routine. Sometimes he gets anxious when things don't go as planned. Nothing serious, but it requires patience. Sarah, can I ask you something? Of course. Why do you think it could work with us? Because you're already a family that embraces differences. Emily came from a difficult separation. Lily came from abandonment. And you've created an environment where each of them could flourish as themselves. I see. Nathan needs that. He needs people who accept that he's different, but no less valuable. That night, Richard talked to Grandma Esther about the meeting. "What did you think of him?" Esther asked. "I thought he was a sweet boy who just needs a family that understands his way of being." "And do you feel ready for that?" "Esther, after everything we've been through, after everything we've learned about family and love, I think we're ready for anything." "And the girls?" "They're already planning how to share their room with him." Esther smiled. "Then I think our family is growing again." In the following visits, Nathan became more comfortable. He brought drawings to show, asked detailed questions about the family's routine, and observed everything carefully. "Nathan," Richard asked during the third visit, "what's the home like where you live now?" "It's fine, the caretakers take good care of us, but it's very noisy, and there are always new people coming or leaving. I can't get used to it." "And what would your ideal home be like?" Nathan thought carefully before answering. "A house where everything has its place, where people ask before changing anything, where no one touches my things without permission, and where there are people who like me just the way I am." Emily and Lily exchanged glances. "Nathan," said Emily, "in our house, everyone has their own space, and we always ask before touching each other's things. And Grandma Esther teaches us to respect everyone's way of being," Lily added. "What if I have a meltdown?" asked Nathan. "Sometimes I get really nervous and need to be alone for a while." "Everyone gets nervous sometimes," said Richard. "The important thing is knowing there's always someone nearby when you need them." During the fourth visit, Nathan brought a small backpack. "Can I show my collection?" he asked timidly. "Of course," said Richard. Nathan opened the backpack and carefully took out an organized box of miniature cars, all lined up by color and size. "Wow!" exclaimed Lily. "So neat." "Each car has its own story," Nathan explained. "This blue one was the first one I ever got. This red one was given to me by a foster home aunt on my birthday." He told the story of each car with impressive detail. Richard realized that for Nathan, this collection was much more than toys. They were organized memories, a way to make sense of his world. "Nathan," said Richard, "if you came to live with us, you could have a special place just for your collection." Nathan's eyes lit up. "Really? A place just for me?" "Just yours, where no one touches it without your permission." "What if I want to reorganize it?" "You can reorganize it as many times as you want." Nathan looked at his collection, then at Richard, then at the girls. You really want me to live with you?" "We really do," said Lily. "Would you be my big brother?" "And mine too," said Emily. Nathan was silent for a moment, taking it all in. "I've never had sisters before." "And we've never had a brother," said Emily. "We can learn together." That day, when Sarah came to pick up Nathan, he asked a question that moved everyone. "Sarah, can I stay here tonight? Just tonight to see what it's like?" Sarah looked at Richard, who nodded. "Of course, Nathan. I'll pick you up tomorrow morning." It was Nathan's first night in Richard's house. The girls were too excited to sleep, wanting to show everything to their new brother. "Nathan, this is the room that could be yours," said Richard, showing a small space that had been used as an office. Nathan walked in slowly, taking in every detail. "Can I put a shelf there for my collection?" "You can. And organize my books alphabetically. You can organize them however you want. What if I need quiet to think?" "It's your room. You make the rules." Nathan sat on the bed and smiled. "I think I'll like living here." At dinner, Esther made sure to ask Nathan about his favorite foods, allergies, and preferred routines. "Nathan, is there any food you don't like?" she asked. "I don't like when too many things are mixed together on one plate. I prefer when each food stays in its own spot." "Noted," said Esther. "What else do I need to know to take good care of you?" Nathan was moved by the question. "Grandma Esther, can I call you Grandma Esther?" "Of course you can, my grandson." "Grandma Esther, no one's ever asked me that before." "Asked what?" "How to take good care of me. People always try to change me, never to understand me." Esther hugged Nathan. Here, we don't change anyone, my dear. We learn to love each person just as they are. That night, Nathan had trouble sleeping in the new environment. Richard noticed and went to talk to him. Everything okay, Nathan? It's just different sleeping here. There are different sounds, different smells. Do you want me to stay here until you fall asleep? Can you? Richard sat in a chair beside the bed. Nathan, can I tell you something? Sure. When I was a kid, I also had trouble sleeping in new places. My nanny Esther would stay with me until I fell asleep. Grandma Esther took care of you when you were little? She did, and she taught me that home isn't a place, it's where the people who love us are. Nathan grew thoughtful. Mr. Richard? You can just call me Richard, or Dad if you'd like. Dad, can I stay here forever? Richard felt his heart race. You want to stay? I really do. Here, I feel normal. Nathan, you are normal. You just have a special way of being. People always say I'm difficult. You're not difficult. You just need people who have the patience to understand you. Nathan stayed quiet for a few minutes, then said, Dad, thank you for not trying to fix me. You don't need fixing, Nathan. You're already perfect just the way you are. That night, Nathan slept peacefully for the first time in months. The next morning, when Sarah arrived to pick him up, Nathan made a request. Sarah, can I live here? Nathan, this is something we need to decide carefully. I've already decided. I want to live here. Sarah looked at Richard. And you? How do you feel? We feel like our family is finally complete, Richard answered. Daddy, Emily said, does that mean we're a family of 5 now? That's right, Princess. And do I get a big brother to protect me? Lily asked. Nathan smiled. I'll protect you and Emily forever. And we'll protect you too, Emily said. Sarah watched the scene, moved. Well, then I guess we have a new family forming. The adoption process for Nathan took a few months to finalize, but from that day on, he lived with Richard, Esther, Emily, and Lily. The adjustment wasn't always easy. Nathan had his routines and rituals that needed to be respected. Sometimes he'd get overwhelmed and needed time alone. Occasionally, he'd have anxiety attacks when his routine changed unexpectedly. But the family learned to handle these things with love and patience. Nathan, Richard would say when the boy grew anxious, it's okay to be nervous. Everyone gets nervous sometimes. What matters is knowing you're not alone. The girls also learned to respect their brother's space and needs. Nathan needs quiet right now, Emily would tell Lily when he was having a tough day. Let's go play in the living room. Esther adored having a grandson to care for. Nathan helped her in the kitchen, organizing spices alphabetically and measuring ingredients with mathematical precision. Grandma Esther, if we add a little more salt, it'll taste better, he'd suggest. You're right, my grandson. You're a natural cook. 3 months after Nathan arrived, Richard got a call from Michael, his former business partner. Richard, we need to talk. Michael, after over a year, what do you want? I have a proposal. What kind of proposal? I want you to come back to the firm. Richard was surprised. Come back? Why? Because the firm isn't the same without you. I'm losing clients, losing money, losing direction. So, Richard, I was wrong. You were right about giving meaning to our work. Michael, I have a family now. 3 kids. I can't go back to my old ways. I don't want you to go back. I want you to bring your new values to the firm. Richard was intrigued. How so? What if we created a division for community law? You'd handle social cases, I'd handle commercial ones. We split the profits equally. Michael, why the change of heart? Because I realized making money doesn't make me happy if I can't sleep at night. Richard discussed the proposal with his family. What do you all think? He asked during dinner. Dad, the important thing is for you to be happy, said Emily. And to keep being our present father, added Lily. I think you can help more families, said Nathan, like you helped ours. Esther was more practical. Richard, if you start earning well again, you can provide more security for the kids, education, health plans, a bigger house. Do you think I should accept? "We think you should follow your heart," said Lily. Richard decided to accept the proposal, but with strict conditions: limited hours, free weekends, and respected family vacations. Michael agreed to all the terms. "Richard, I lost a partner, but I hope to regain a friend." "We'll see, Michael. We'll see." Richard's return to the legal world was different this time. He specialized in children's rights, adoption, and family matters. He helped families like his own form and protected children in vulnerable situations. "Dad," Nathan said one day, "you saved our family. Now you're saving other families too." "Nathan, you're the ones who saved our family. You taught me what real love is." A year later, Richard received a call that would change everything again. "Richard, it's Stephanie." Richard hadn't spoken to Lily's birth mother in months. "Stephanie, how are you?" "I'm good. In therapy, working, living my life." "Richard, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "Can I see Lily? There's something important I need to talk to her about." "Stephanie, you can see Lily whenever you want. She's your daughter too." "No, Richard. That's exactly what I need to talk to her about." Richard was confused. "I don't understand." "Richard, I want to make your custody of Lily official. I want you to legally adopt her." "Stephanie, let me explain. These months in therapy have made me realize many things. One of them is that being her birth mother doesn't automatically make me the best mother for Lily." "But you are her mother." "I'm the mother who brought her into the world. You're the father raising her. I want this to be official." "And you? How will this work for you?" "I'll still be Aunt Stephanie. I'll visit her, give her birthday gifts, be part of her life, but without the pressure of being the primary caregiver." "Stephanie, are you sure?" "Absolutely. Richard, Lily is happy with you all. She has siblings, a grandmother, a stable family. I can give her love, but I can't give her a family." "And what does Lily think about this?" "I haven't talked to her yet. I wanted your opinion first." "Stephanie, if Lily agrees, I'd be honored to be her legal father." The following weekend, Stephanie visited them. She spoke privately with Lily for over an hour. When they came out of the room, Lily was crying. "Lily, what's wrong?" Richard asked worriedly. "Dad, Mom Stephanie said she wants you to be my real father on paper too. And what do you think about that?" "I think it's the rightest thing in the world." "Why?" "Because you're already my real dad in my heart. Now you will be on paper too." Richard hugged Lily. "Are you sure, sweetheart?" "Yes. And Mom Stephanie is sure too. She said she loves me too much to be selfish." Stephanie stepped closer. "Richard, thank you for being the father she needed when I couldn't be the mother she deserved. Thank you for giving me the chance to be her dad. Now she'll have what she always deserved, a complete and stable family." 2 months later, Richard was at the courthouse finalizing Lily's adoption. Emily, Nathan, and Esther were there as witnesses. Stephanie was also present. "Richard Anderson," the clerk said, "as of today, Lily Grace is legally your daughter." Lily jumped into Richard's arms. "Now I'm Lily Anderson," she shouted happily. "Now you're Lily Anderson," Richard confirmed, emotional. Nathan and Emily applauded. "Now we're all real siblings," said Emily. "The Anderson family is complete," added Nathan. Esther cried with emotion. "My 3 grandchildren, all with the same last name." That night, Richard lay in bed, thinking about how his life had completely changed. From a lonely workaholic executive to a father of 3 wonderful children, he remembered the day he met Lily on the street when she offered to pray for him. How could she have known that prayer would change all their lives? "Dad," said Nathan, appearing at the bedroom door. "Can I sleep here tonight?" "Of course, son. Did something happen?" "No, it's just sometimes I'm afraid I'll wake up and find out this was all a dream." Richard made room in the bed. "Nathan, this isn't a dream. We're a real family. Forever? Forever." Minutes later, Emily appeared. "Dad, can I sleep here too? I'm so happy and don't want to sleep alone." "Of course, Princess." Soon after, it was Lily's turn. "Dad, can I sleep here? Today was such a special day, and I want to share it with everyone." "Of course, sweetheart." Last, Esther appeared. "Richard, are all the kids here?" "They are, Esther. Do you want to sleep here too?" "Yes, I do. Today our family was officially completed. We should celebrate together." That night, all 5 of them slept in the same bed. Richard in the middle, the 3 kids on either side, Esther on the edge watching over everyone. It was cramped, it was messy, but it was perfect. Richard woke up in the early hours and watched his sleeping family. He remembered how lonely and empty he had felt just 2 years before. Now he had 3 children who loved him, a mother figure who cared for everyone, meaningful work, and true friends in the community. He whispered softly, "Thank you, Lily, for praying for me that day. Thank you for teaching me that family is where love is." Lily stirred in her sleep and murmured, "You're welcome, Dad. It's what God in heaven wanted." Richard smiled. Even asleep, Lily was still wise. In the months that followed, the Anderson family settled in completely. Nathan adapted perfectly to his new school, made friends who respected his quirks, and discovered a talent for math and technical drawing. Emily flourished as the responsible older sister, helping Nathan when he got anxious, protecting Lily when needed, and mediating conflicts between the siblings. Lily remained the family's light, with her unique ability to see the good in every situation, her unshakable faith, and her unconditional love for everyone. Esther found fulfillment as a grandmother to 3 grandchildren, each with their own uniqueness, all united by the love she had helped build. Richard discovered that being a father was the hardest and most rewarding work of his life. He learned to be patient with Nathan's struggles, to give individual attention to each child, and to balance work and family. 2 years after officially adopting Nathan and Lily, Richard received an unexpected call. "Richard, it's Jennifer." "Jennifer, how are you?" "I'm good." "Richard, can I ask you something personal?" "Of course." "Have you ever thought about getting married again?" The question caught Richard off guard. "Why do you ask?" Because I've met someone. Someone I'd like you to meet." "Jennifer, I don't understand." "Richard, you've become an amazing man, a wonderful father, and I think you deserve to find someone who makes you completely happy." "I am completely happy, Jennifer." "I know you're happy with the kids, but what about having a partner? Someone to share adult life with?" Richard grew thoughtful. "I don't know, Jennifer. I haven't really thought about it." "Richard, can I introduce you to a friend of mine? She's a teacher, loves kids, and is an incredible person." "Jennifer." "Just one meeting. No strings attached. What do you think?" Richard talked to his family about Jennifer's suggestion. "Dad, I think you should meet this woman," said Emily. "Why?" "Because you take care of everyone, but no one takes care of you." "You all take care of me." "We take care of you as kids," said Nathan. "But you need someone to take care of you as a wife." "What if I don't like her?" asked Richard. "Then you don't date her," said Lily, matter-of-factly. Simple as that. "And what if I like her and you don't?" "Then we talk it out," said Emily. "That's what family does. We talk until we find a solution." Grandma Esther was more direct. "Richard, you're 45. You have a beautiful family, a job you love, but you sleep alone every night. Don't you think it's time to find someone special?" "Esther, I have you all. I'm not alone." "Alone as a man, Richard. You deserve romantic love too." Richard finally agreed to meet Jennifer's friend. Her name was Rebecca, 38 years old, an elementary school teacher divorced with no kids. Their first date was at a neutral cafe without the children. Rebecca was a beautiful woman, with brown hair, an easy smile, and a sweet way of speaking. She shared that she'd divorced 2 years earlier because her ex-husband didn't want children. "What about you? Do you want kids?" asked Richard. "I really do. I've always wanted to be a mother." "Well, I already have 3. Jennifer told me. She said you're an amazing dad." "I try to be." "She also told me how you became a family. It's beautiful. It's the most important thing in my life." They talked for 3 hours. Rebecca was smart, funny, and affectionate. There was obvious chemistry between them. "Richard, can I be honest?" she said at the end of their date. "Of course. I really like you, but I know you have priorities. If something happens between us, I understand your kids come first. Always. And I'd respect that. In fact, I'd love to meet them, if you'd allow it. They're already curious about you. Really? They were the ones who pushed me the hardest to accept this date. Richard came home excited. He'd really liked Rebecca. So, Dad? Emily asked as soon as he walked in. She's really nice. Nice how? Lily wanted to know. Nice to talk to laugh with, to be around. Is she pretty? Asked Nathan. Yes. And she wants to meet us? Emily asked. She does. So when is she coming over? Lily asked. Richard laughed at the kids' eagerness. You really want to meet her? We do, the three said in unison. Then I'll invite her for lunch this Sunday. The following Sunday, Rebecca arrived at 11 in the morning, bringing a homemade cake and gifts for the kids. You must be Emily, Nathan, and Lily, she said, greeting each by name. The kids were impressed she already knew their names. Your dad told me a lot about you, Rebecca explained. And we already know all about you too, said Lily. That you're a teacher, you love kids, you bake delicious cakes. I hope I live up to expectations, Rebecca laughed. During lunch, Rebecca talked naturally with each child, respecting Nathan's quirks, praising Lily's drawings, showing interest in Emily's studies. Aunt Rebecca, Nathan said after lunch, do you want to see my toy car collection? I'd love to, Nathan. Nathan proudly showed off his neatly organized collection. Rebecca asked smart questions and showed genuine interest. You're very organized, Nathan. That's a special talent. My dad thinks so too, Nathan said, smiling. In the afternoon, Lily asked Rebecca to help her with a drawing. Aunt Rebecca, can you draw? A little. What do you want to draw? A new family, said Lily. Rebecca glanced at Richard, who nodded encouragingly. What would this new family look like? Rebecca asked. It would have a dad, 3 kids, a grandma, and maybe a new mum, Lily said innocently. Lily, began Richard. It's all right, said Rebecca. Let's draw this family. Together, they drew a big, happy family. At the end, Lily handed the drawing to Rebecca. This is for you to keep, in case you ever want to be part of our family one day. Richard was embarrassed by Lily's directness. Lily, that's not how things work. It's okay, said Rebecca, moved. Thank you for the drawing, Lily. I'll treasure it. Later that evening, when Rebecca left, the children gave their verdict. Dad, we really liked her, said Emily. She's really nice, agreed Nathan. And she makes delicious cake, added Lily. So you approve? We do, they said in unison. But there's one condition, said Emily. What condition? If you two date, she has to keep being nice to us. And if you get married, she has to become our real mom, finished Lily. Lily, these things take time. I know, Dad, but it's good to say it now. Richard laughed at his children's practicality. In the following months, Richard and Rebecca got to know each other better. She became a constant presence in the house, joining them for dinners, outings, and family activities. The children quickly grew accustomed to her. Nathan showed her his new math discoveries. Emily asked for advice about school and friendships. Lily simply adopted Rebecca as part of the family. Aunt Rebecca, Lily said one day, when are you going to become our mom? Lily, these things need to happen naturally. But do you like our dad? Very much. And do you like us? I love you. And do you want to live here? Rebecca looked at Richard, who was watching the conversation with amusement. I'd love to live here, Lily. Then it's settled. You're already our mom. It's not quite that simple, sweetheart. Why not? Richard intervened. Because first, I need to ask her to marry me. Then ask her already, said Lily impatiently. Lily, there's a right time for these things. What's the right time? Asked Nathan. When two people are sure they want to spend their whole lives together. And are you two sure? Asked Emily. Richard looked at Rebecca. I'm sure. And you, Rebecca? I'm sure too. Then it's now, shouted Lily. Richard laughed and knelt in front of Rebecca. Rebecca, will you marry me and become the official mom of these 3 wonderful kids? Rebecca began to cry. Yes, Richard, I really do. The children erupted in celebration. We're going to have a mom, shouted Lily. Finally, said Emily. Now our family is truly complete, added Nathan. Esther appeared from the kitchen, where she had overheard everything. "What joy! I'm getting a daughter-in-law." "Grandma Esther," said Rebecca, hugging her, "thank you for welcoming another person into the family." "My dear, a family that grows is a family that thrives." The wedding was set for 6 months later. The children took part in all the preparations, choosing flowers, suggesting songs, planning the celebration. "Dad," Nathan said one day, "can I give a speech at your wedding?" "Of course, son. What do you want to say?" "I want to tell how our family came together. How you found us one by one and brought us together." "That would be beautiful, Nathan." "And can I be a flower girl?" asked Lily. "Of course, sweetheart." "And can I be a bridesmaid?" asked Emily. "It would be an honor," said Rebecca. A week before the wedding, Richard had an unexpected visitor. It was his mother Margaret, whom he hadn't seen in over 5 years. "Richard, I heard you're getting married." "Mom, how did you know? And how did you find me?" "Jennifer told me, and she also told me about your children." "What do you want, Mom?" "I want to meet my grandchildren." Richard was surprised. "Since when do you care about my kids?" "Since I realized I made terrible mistakes with you when you were a child." Richard called the children. "Kids, this is Grandma Margaret, my mother." The children greeted politely but kept their distance. "Grandma Margaret," said Lily, "why did you never come to visit us before?" Lily's direct question caught Mrs. Margaret off guard. Because your father and I had a falling out a long time ago." "But have you made up now?" asked Nathan. "We're trying." "And will you be a cool grandma?" asked Emily. "I'll try to be." "Because we already have Grandma Esther, who's the best grandma in the world," Lily explained. "I know, and I don't want to replace anyone. I just want a chance to be part of your lives." Richard spoke with Mrs. Margaret alone. "Mom, why now? After all these years?" "Because I'm 72, Richard, and I realized I wasted the chance to be a good mother. I don't want to waste the chance to be a good grandmother." "And what changed?" "I went to therapy. I understood I was unfair to Esther when you were a child. I realized I raised you to be successful but not to be happy. Mom, Richard, when I see you now, with this beautiful family, I see the man I should have helped you become since childhood. And what do you want from me?" "Forgiveness. And a chance to know my grandchildren." Richard thought for a moment. "Mom, you can be part of our lives, but with respect for our rules." "What rules?" "Esther is the main grandma. You'd be like an extra grandma." "I accept. The kids have their own needs that must be respected." "I understand. And if you hurt any of them, you're out of our lives forever." "Fair enough." On the wedding day, the church was full. The whole community had come. Michael was there with his family. Jennifer had come from Boston. Stephanie was also present. Sarah brought several colleagues from family court. But the most touching moment was when Nathan went up to the altar to give his speech. "My name is Nathan, and I want to tell a story," he began firmly. "Once upon a time, there was a man who thought family was just about working and making money. But then he met a girl on the street who said she'd pray for him." The audience listened in silence. "That girl, who's my sister Lily, prayed for him to find what he'd lost. And do you know what he'd lost? He'd lost the ability to love." Richard discreetly wiped his eyes. "Then he met Grandma Esther, who taught him how to be caring again. He met my sister Emily, who taught him how to be a real dad. He met Lily, who taught him to have faith. And he met me, who taught him patience." Nathan paused. "And today, he's marrying Aunt Rebecca, who's going to teach him how to be happy in every possible way." The audience was moved. "So I want to say thank you, Dad, for finding us. Thank you, Mom Rebecca, for wanting to be our mom. And thank you, Lily, for praying that day. Because when you prayed for him, you prayed for all of us." When Nathan finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the church. Richard and Rebecca got married, surrounded by the love of a family that had formed unconventionally, but with immense love and dedication. At the reception, every family member made sure to give a speech. Esther spoke about how she'd found a son again and gained a family. Emily thanked them for having a present father and a new mother. Nathan talked about belonging and acceptance. Lily, last of all, gave the simplest yet deepest speech. I just want to say that when we pray for real, beautiful things happen, and our family is proof of that. End of story. Now tell us what you thought of this touching story. Do you believe in the power of prayer and true love? Leave a comment below about which part moved you the most. If you have a special family story, share it with us. And don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more heartwarming stories. Your presence here means so much to us.